Hello and good morning, and today I decided I wanted a lovely cliffside modern home in Minecraft. So we're going to go ahead and build one. So the first thing you need to do is find a nice cliff to put it in, and I want it to be in a jungle biome. I like how lush jungles are, and I think it really kind of sits well with this type of build. So we're just going to go until we find one, and then we'll find a nice cliff and build up the house. So this is something I don't think I've ever seen happen in terms of generation, is a jungle biome generating on the edge of a snowy biome. Although I want it to be on the edge of an ocean more so, if I can find that. But there's a lot of nice cliffs in the area. We'll see. I'm going to keep looking. So I think this spot here will do. I mean, it's not overlooking an ocean per se, but I think it is still a very nice view. There's a chasm there. A very nice view. There will need to be a lot of terraforming. We want to kind of level this out to be kind of a median height from this to this. I really like having the back wall here. I think that will kind of just round the build. We're gonna have a lot of terraforming to do. We have to clear away all these trees, all these leaves. Again, level the terrain. I think we can make something that's a great area to work in. So I'm just gonna go ham on a little bit of deforestation here. You know, these trees gotta go. As you can see, I haven't done a ton in terms of terraforming. I've just kind of put in a big block of grass. That's how much I'm going to leave it for now. We'll come back and probably terraform it later when we have an actual house there. It's hard to kind of terraform up that house when there isn't actually a house. But from here, we're going to go ahead and choose our block palette. One thing to note about modern houses, at least that I've noticed, is they tend to have very bold, for the most part, monochromatic colors with just hints of wood. So we're going to kind of emulate that with our blocks in Minecraft, and we'll see what we come up with. So this is the block palette I'm going with. It's just cyan terracotta, stone, smooth, quartz, dark oak planks, and normal glass and black stained glass. They kind of all just work well together in terms of the contrast, as well as the dark stained glass really works well for tempered glass, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. We won't be using this for the windows as much as we use it for railings. So this is the basic footprint of the house that we're going to be going with. You'll see there's a lot of overlapping like geometric shapes, and that's one thing you see a lot in these modern homes is they're very geometric. They have big, bold shapes that just overlap with each other and layer. Creates a house that just kind of looks united in a weird way, but also kind of fighting for space. It's kind of cool. That's the best way I could think to describe it. And it's a look I really love. So now we're just going to build these up so we can kind of just see how the shapes will interact. There's going to be other shapes involved too at different heights, but this is the basic footprint. So I've gone ahead and built up all the structures. And you can really see the geometric shapes, the overlapping shapes as well. But there's a couple things to note that I did here. All these roofs are 2 blocks thick, and I'll talk more about that later and why I did that. But you can see just all the overlapping wood with the cyan terracotta, little extension here. One thing I did while I was building it is I made sure to kind of plan to what the room would be. And I'll talk more about that in a moment, but this here would be a bathroom. It's the perfect size, shape, all of that. You'll also notice the house is very asymmetrical, but it still feels balanced. There's things, so if you look at it from the top down, for example, see, it's not the same on both sides, but it balances out with having this square here counteract like that bit there, this here to that there, like this is longer, but this one is taller, stuff like that. It balances, but it's asymmetrical, and I think it looks really good. And there's just a continual flow of like wood from here to here, this space here. The next thing we really need to do to kind of help us continue with the building is to figure out which room will be what, as well as section off the rooms. Like there's a few rooms that are kind of evident already. So again, as I said earlier, the bathroom right here, the entrance foyer right here, and right here be a stairwell. Those are the only ones that are like 100% evident. We really need to split off the spaces, put up walls, put in floors, and decide this is a bedroom, this is a kitchen, this is a living space. So now there's a very clear separation of spaces. So these are obviously bedrooms with a connected bath, both sides. So yeah, another bedroom with a slightly larger connected bath. And of course, we now have a front door spot. I've also replaced all the floors with stone because that's kind of what I wanted this flooring to be when I picked the block palette. And then upstairs is a big open space. This would be the living area, our kitchen, dining, and living rooms, all up in this upper area. So having this separation of the obvious rooms really will let us kind of design where the windows will go, doors, patios, pretty much everything else that will make this house this house. So I've gone through and added the majority of our windows as well as a lot of our doors. Actually, I realized the only doors I added were stained glass doors. So I actually used white stained glass here to create the look of folded up sliding doors because, you know, glass there really wouldn't provide the same effect. It would look like this. So it makes it look kind of layered, because you can't really layer glass in this game and it look decent. So that's what I did there. And you'll also notice there's a lot of really big windows, letting a lot of natural light in. That's something I've seen in the design of modern homes. I think it looks nice, as well as these really long stretch windows. I love this space. This would be a stairwell. I think it just, the way the light shines through, it looks so cool. But if we come down here, you'll notice in the bedrooms, the windows are very much just kind of elevated, very thin slits. They still provide natural light in, but they keep your privacy, which is, I'd say, very important. Now if we journey into this bathroom, this is where the shower would be. It's got a big old window that overlooks the area, but it's fogged glass, that way they can't see back in and of course see you taking a shower. And I think this is looking rather nice. There's a lot of just big open walls that will open up to massive, just, it goes from a window to just an open space, and I love that feeling. So next thing that we do is develop the patios, the outdoor balconies. The majority of the outdoor spaces, of course, without the furnishings and all that, but just giving them the general feel, shape, and design. So I have the general plan for the balconies in place. We do need to support them so that, they're not floating, because this right now looks a little odd. And I wish we had the stone walls that are coming 1.16, but we don't yet. It's okay. But if we come over here, we'll see I have the outline of a pool, an infinity pool. So what will happen is the water's flowing over the edge, so it looks like the water just kind of goes on forever. Really cool trick, and it has a really beautiful view, I do have to say. Like, this is a beautiful valley. So it's an interesting shape. This side's gonna be much shallower than this side, as it's sitting over the balcony of this bedroom. I also moved the windows for the shower to here instead of around this corner, because the pool is going to come down a couple blocks and just completely block the window otherwise, so this makes more sense. Now we just need to go in and make the pool. The pool is going to be very interesting. It's using a technique I came up with yesterday, or a couple days ago, where the water flows over the edge. This is how infinity pools work in real life. It flows over the edge, recycles the water that flows over the edge and back into the pool, of course. Pools typically work just with that extra added step. So it's going to flow over this bit here into a trough of stairs like that. So they'll all flow into that. So you can see now we have the finished shape of the pool. So the water will flow over the edge into this little trough here that just kind of goes all the way around. It does change heights along with the bottom of the pool. I think that looks rather nice. The bottom side, it's a little rough, and this person's patio kind of got screwed over a little bit. Just a little bit, though. But I still have the killer shower view, so it's okay. So now we're going to go ahead and add the water. So in order to get it to flow properly, you have to fill in the trough first, then you fill that, and it just kind of flows over the edge in a very clean manner, and just captures itself on the trough. And when you're inside the pool, it creates this effect that looks like just the water goes on forever. I think it just looks so awesome. Now that's an infinity pool. It feels pretty awesome. So you can come out here and we see it just flowing all over. But again, it stays in place. It looks pretty clean. I added a little waterfall there and I think it looks kind of nice. Yeah, that's the pool. And I would love this pool in real life. Now the next thing we need to do really is make these balconies look nice and, safe. We're going to use these block stained glass to go ahead and create what looks like tempered glass railings, and yeah, that does the trick. That feels a lot safer now, and it just of course ends with the pool. Well, you can work your way around here. There we go, that's better. That's safe. Wow, I love this so much. See, that feels a lot safer now, and we can walk around there without problem. We still need to add the supports for the upper balcony. The lower balcony we'll worry about when we do the terraforming, but if we look up here, I added a grass roof. I'm gonna want this house to be eco-friendly, at least in design. So using grass roofs really helps with cooling. It's good for the environment as well, and traps rainfall and helps irrigate properly. And it looks awesome too. If you look at a modern house in the Google Maps and they have the green roofs, they blend in with their area beautifully, but still have the kind of outline. I love it. So we're gonna add that in at least these 3 roof sections. Potentially this one, but I have another idea for this one. So a very small little shift here, but I've added this into a patio instead of a grass roof. I think it creates a nice sunbathing area. You have perfect sunlight here for majority of the day, as well as just, it's a nice space that overlooks nature. And of course up here I added solar panels. I used dark prismarine as the solar panel because they have those solar cell look. And back here I actually used a black stained glass as what looks like a wire. Shows kind of oddly, but it makes sense. And of course, we have the 2 other grass roofs. Nothing too special about those. So now comes the part that I'm dreading the most, which is the interior furnishings. That is the one thing I'm not that good at in Minecraft, is creating interiors. But I want this building to have an interior that looks nice, and that really describes what it is well. And interior also kind of sets the space of, this is a kitchen, this is a living room, this is a dining room, this is a bedroom, stuff like that. So we're gonna go through and add those things accordingly. Of course, our kitchen, our living room, our dining room, you know, the things I just listed. Alright, so I more or less just finished the interior of the house. I think it's pretty good considering how not so good I am at doing interiors. So we have the kitchen in here with our sinks, our fridge, a bunch of cabinet space. I like this as like a little microwave. We have an oven, a stove here, as well as a trash disposal. Then go in here, we have the main dining area. Nice little space with also outdoor dining, and again, another lounging area right here. Over here we have an outdoor sofa along with the indoor main living space with a TV, sound system, you know, the whole 9 yards, except for I forgot a trapdoor there. And also, I really like this little button as a TV remote. I think it works really well. And we go downstairs. I'm really happy with how the stairs turned out, with the big glass wall right here as kind of also a safety barrier. Ooh, spooky cave noises. I don't understand why they added those to the game. And then over here we have a little laundry machine. I think it'd be a nice touch. A lot of houses, you know, have laundry machines. And then we go here, we have the 2 bedrooms. So this is the master. Of course, it has a slightly obstructive view now, but it has a nice outdoor seating area with a lounging and that sort of stuff. Massive bed with kind of interesting lighting, and our TV with a button again. Go in here, we have the bathroom. Using banners as towels. I saw this online. I'm like, ooh, wait, I didn't finish the bathroom. I guess I'll explain it. So the way this bathroom's gonna work is, if we clear out all that, it looks like I have a little bit to fill in here. Oh, no button. So basically how I was doing these is there's hoppers as drains with rails on top of them. Oh yeah, that looks kind of good. And then smoothing tables for the floor. Creating kind of like a padded floor in the shower. I really am a fan of it. Of course, you have your double sink here. A little bit, oh, there's no water in these cauldrons. It's fine. Oh, these are hoppers. And of course we have counter space and all that. And the toilet, which makes it, I'm sure, very awkward if you were to take a mirror selfie in this bathroom. Alright, so if we go over to the other bedroom, very similar, slightly smaller bed. Same lighting, same TV setup, all that sort of stuff. There isn't a plant in here though. And here we have the smaller bathroom. Our toilet and sink are right next to each other, as well as the same sort of shower idea, but again, slightly smaller. So pretty much that's the interior of the house done. Now the next big step we have to do, which is pretty much the last step, is the terraforming and landscape. Kind of bringing everything back together in a way that looks good and just sits well in the environment and not on a big grass cube. And we also have to kind of do up these roofs a little bit to not just be manicured green grass. So as part of the terraforming, I started working on the entrance area, and I've created these little stepping stones over what will be a little pond, which will have a little waterfall right there. I made a mistake. So as I was saying, over what will be a little pond here, once I fill in all of these little gaps. Basically, I made this by taking stairs and doing that with just in a pattern like that over a bunch of slabs. And it just creates a little space you can walk over without having to sprint. It will look really cool, filled with water. Okay, so that's the area filled with water, and it really does create this little stepping stone over water look, and I love it. Last little finishing touch is that little waterfall that flows down and adds just a bit of like kinematics to the area. Just a bit of flow. I love it. I do want to change out this block though. There we go. And then of course this here will just be a path that goes along the side of the house. You could maybe put another bit of stepping stones, but I don't want to overdo it. I think this is a nice amount. It really just creates the effect, and it just looks so nice. So I finished up the path that will lead us to the house from down at ground level. And we're going to go ahead and take the terrain, and it's going to match up, kind of, at least in shape, with this path. Not necessarily grading, though. We'll kind of create a balanced flow that really will accentuate the path, create kind of a area up here that's on its own with the house. And we also need to bring this up to the house as well. And then we have to fill everything in with foliage, clean this up a little bit, support this, and that's the house in a finished state. Wow, that's a big change. It really brings it kind of all together really well. It sits so much nicer in the environment now. With bringing this all the way up to match that path, and this cliffside, it feels like it was carved out of the valley instead of you know, being built up around it. I've also brought up the terrain to kind of come up and support the house a little bit. I do need to add another proper support to the pool because I feel like it just needs it. It doesn't feel right. Although from this side, I think it doesn't really need that much more besides just a little bit more just rock work, I think. Just kind of out like this, you know. But, you know, more thought put into it than that. But the next thing I really want to do is add a bit of noise to this path and the rock work around it. Because right now it feels just way too bare, way too plain. I feel like it would have like a little bit of andesite thrown in. You know, just a bit of texture to really make it, well, that obviously won't work. I'm not gravel, or not cobblestone, it's just too much noise. But if we put just a bit of gravel in, you know, just a bit of andesite, bit of gravel, bit of cobblestone, a bit of polished andesite too, we can really create a texture that feels more natural than just a smooth stone walkway. And of course we need to add that to the walls and stuff, a bit of granite maybe, you know, mix up with a couple materials in there. I don't like that diorite, I kind of want to get rid of it. It's kind of an eyesore, it draws your eyes right to it. And the other thing we need to do is, you know, add some foliage to this area. Some plant life, we'll go with some bone meal, plant out, get some of these, some flowers, a couple of trees, nothing too tall, and some bamboo stalks, again, not too tall. Just enough to kind of be able to barely be seen from up here, but of course cover up this bit of the area. And then also up here we're going to add plants as a natural barrier to this kind of garden. I do want the garden to continue out here a little bit. So you can access it, but again bring up the natural barrier up along here to just make it feel safe. Wow guys, it really feels grounded. It really feels like it's supposed to be here. The terrain really comes up and hugs it, and the leaves really bring it back into the jungle. I really like the stone supporting I did on this section. I think it actually kind of embraces the ground in a weird way. It makes it feel like it was dug out of the rockwork, even though it obviously wasn't, but it gives that feeling from this angle, which I really love. And then this support's a little wonky, but it kind of had to be done. I was looking at houses that had pools like this, and generally they just had a support that went down. So I followed that idea and just kind of went straight down, but I made it look somewhat beefy and impressive, and I think it looks okay. It's definitely not amazing, but it looks okay. Definitely a bit out there though. This path really feels together with everything else, with the switching of the blocks. Like, it just added another level of depth to the area that just really, you feel like you're in a jungle. There's also a lot of cows in the area. And you're walking up to the front of the house. It's very green, very lush. How it's supposed to feel. Of course, we have our little garden here with a very, I'm actually clear out a couple blocks here. There we go. With the natural barriers. And it really feels clean. The one thing I do want to mention is these bamboo stalks. Actually, this one isn't, because that one's at max height. I limited the height of the stalks, and you can't see it from the ground, by using string. Back to the eerie noises. Game. Why things gotta be eerie? But yeah, we have the bamboo stalks with string on top to just prevent their growth from growing any taller. That means we can get some nice limited height things that aren't just too overwhelming. I did that with some of these, just out front. I mean, they pop up a little bit, but nothing too, like, insane. I think it looks kind of good. You can look down. Wow, I actually hadn't seen this view yet, and I really like this. You just can see the lushness just barely peeking up. I am really happy with how this turned out. I also went to the roofs and added a bit of bone meal and then cleaned it up. So I figured they wouldn't be 100% manicured all the time. There would be a little bit of tall grass, stuff like that. Also over here, I added another little balcony. It's where this path was going to go. It just looks out over this way. Nothing too fancy. A little bamboo forest. Again, nothing too fancy. I do want to... Just not that block. Not that block. Right, like that. It all just kind of comes together. It feels in place on the hill. So if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. I will be doing more content like this. Let me know in the comments if you want to see me build anything specific, because I'd love to take on certain challenges. As well as check out my Twitch. I stream pretty frequently over there, almost daily. Yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.